Let's talk some more football. Let's talk draft. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, the end of April and early May. And there are a lot of teams out there in desperate need of a quarterback. A lot of teams that really don't have much at that position right now that are looking to fill a position. And some teams that do have a quarterback who has had some success in the league, but maybe they want to move on as well. And one of those teams is the Chicago Bears, who are working out Jameis Winston this week, who have allegedly been interested in moving up in the draft to possibly take Marcus Mariota. They do have Jay Cutler, a gentleman we know very well, at quarterback. Let's bring in Jeff Dickerson right now from ESPN Chicago. He's the Bears reporter. Jeff, thanks for joining us. And I guess they're just not convinced that Jay Cutler's the guy. Is that what we should be reading here?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, number one, if you watch the Bears, nobody should be convinced that Jay Cutler's the guy. I mean, 6 years.
We could have told those people, Jeff. We could have told them.
I know. You know, Cutler still has his pocket of supporters here in town, but they've actually been dwindling over the years. Last year was just a train wreck with everything that went on with Mark Trestman and Cutler and Aaron Cromer. Now, those guys are both gone, but Cutler, of course, remains here in Chicago. You know, I think what's happening here is, and you guys know John Fox and Adam Gase and this new regime that's kind of taken over here in Chicago. My understanding is they're just trying to make the best of a less than ideal situation. Everyone knows that Cutler has a lot of faults. He's got a great arm, can make all the throws, but it doesn't matter. You know, basically every system he's been in here in Chicago, the coaches, it's just never worked out. But unless they do something dramatic on draft day, which takes an awful lot, as we know, to move up from number 7, say, to number 2 and take a guy like Marcus Mariota. Yeah, they do have Winston in town today and tomorrow visiting, but a lot of that is just due diligence work. You know, the Bears do face the Buccaneers in the regular season in Tampa. I think most of us think that Jameis Winston likely goes number 1 to the Bucs, so that could be advanced scouting that the Bears are doing as well. But the thing with Cutler is, you know, if it doesn't work with Cutler this year, unlike past years, the Bears are going to move on. There's nothing tying Jay to Chicago anymore beyond this year. Yeah, they can take a cap hit next year. They can spread it out, do a June 1st designation, or they can maybe trade him. But he doesn't have the influence and the juice that he used to have in this organization. So they're going to see how it goes. If it doesn't go well, they're going to move on quickly.
Well, Jeff, wouldn't it make more sense? I hate to put it in the form of a question like that, but wouldn't it make more sense to get rid of him before you go through a year and another year and it doesn't work out, than to wait and say, "Oh, this didn't work out"?
Trade him while he might still be worth something.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any worth and value there, given that he has the highest contract among quarterbacks in the NFL. I guess it's maybe the best contract, was the best contract to all these recent spate of contracts, but it's almost like you're waiting, not you, but the Bears might be waiting too late, and then his value just falls off the table.
Yeah, Woody, I think the problem is that there's just not a lot of options out there. I mentioned before about the rumors about them moving up from 7 to 2. I don't discount anything. I've done this for too long. Crazy things happen on draft day. But, I mean, to go up that high to get a player in Marcus Mariota, who you may not be totally convinced is going to be a star quarterback in this league, I go back to what the Redskins did to get RG3 from St. Louis. They moved, I think it was from 6 to 2. I believe that package was 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick. Now, the Bears are rebuilding. They hit rock bottom last year. They got to retool a defense that's just been atrocious the last couple of seasons since Lovie Smith left in 2012. They got a lot of holes to fill. I'm not sure if rebuilding and then giving away all these draft picks, because it's very easy to say, oh, give Tennessee Cutler. Why would Tennessee want Cutler? Besides the fact that he lives in Nashville in the offseason, he went to Vanderbilt, and he likes country music. That's the only reason I could see Kevin Penn Wizard.
That would be other reasons not to have him in Tennessee, because they know about him. He was a losing quarterback at Vanderbilt. He goes back to Nashville and plays beer pong or ping pong. I don't know that anybody. Jeff, I told this to Les before. I called his high school counselor, and I said, when do you think he turned kind of into the sourpuss For want of a better word, I'll use that.
I'll use the word turd. How's that?
Yeah, and a counselor who was also the assistant football coach, and Jay Cutler's counselor said he was always like this. So
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, his reputation is deserved. I mean, I've covered him for 6 years, and he's a very difficult guy. Obviously, he does have a great arm, and he's very athletic.
Yeah.
He does have some ability.
Jeff, I have a great mouth, but I don't know how to use it.
And that's right, and that's and there's another thing too, guys, that I hear a lot from coaches that have been around Jay. He's a smart guy off the field. He really is.
Yeah.
But real life intelligence and football intelligence are different things. His football intelligence just doesn't seem to be there sometimes. Decision making, reading the defense, understanding how the opposition is going to attack him. So he's got faults. But back to the point about why are the Bears keeping him this year? I just don't think there's another option that's even feasible for them right now. If they don't get Winston or Mariota, the bad draft of quarterbacks after that, they might take a guy in the second, third, or fourth round, but that guy's probably not going to be ready to start. Was a terrible crop of free agent quarterbacks out there. Next year's quarterback class doesn't seem that great either. So they do have to go through the process of finding these Plan B and Plan C quarterbacks, but right now it's Cutler and Jimmy Clausen, and that's kind of scary if you're a fan of a great quarterback.
Jeff, I have another option. You've got John Fox as your head coach now. No quarterback, because John just wants to run the ball every time anyway. You're going to find that out.
No, you're right, and I know, and he's been telling people that already since he came to town.
Really?
He's going to run the ball a ton. Yeah,
I have one for you. Who did John Fox get to the playoffs with and win a playoff game? Other than Peyton Manning? That Tim Tebow.
Right, exactly. So they're going to run the ball, and I know Adam Gase would like to throw a lot with Peyton Manning, but I think the understanding is when Gase came here to Chicago, I know him and Fox had a little. They didn't quite see eye to eye in certain things that last couple of years in Denver, but I think the understanding is in Chicago they're going to run the ball a lot. They've got Matt Forte, who is boycotting the offseason program right now, but I think that'll take care of itself. They're going to probably draft a running back here. They're going to have a running back by committee. They're going to try to do whatever they can to make it work for Cutler, make it easier for him. But again, if he's not giving them the results they want, if he's the guy, as most of us think he's going to be, they're not going to stick with him for the long term. That's just how it is now with the new coaching staff.
Yeah, Jeff, running the ball will mitigate whatever negatives Cutler brings you, and Mo Forte better not show up in the offseason. He needs to rest because he's going to get about 350 carries during the regular season. Hey, Jeff, we really appreciate you. And Twitter handle? What's your Twitter handle?
I'm actually at ESPN Chi Bears. It's the worst handle in the company, but I take it. So at ESPN CHI Bears. Very corporate, I know.
All right, and people can read you at ESPNChicago.com. Appreciate it, Jeff.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Jeff Dickerson of ESPN Chicago in that segment, brought to you by the Celtic Tavern, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rapids. The Celtic provides a bus to every single Colorado Rapids home game. You can tailgate at the Celtic 2 hours before kickoff, and it's just 2 blocks west of Coors Field on Blake, the Celtic Tavern.